And there's a difference between like short-term and long-term rentals,
Yes.
which, you would think that maybe short-term, I don't know. You tell me, what's the difference
Yep.
between the incentive tax-wise?
Yep. So think of short-term rentals as the Airbnb and the Vrbo type rentals. Those are kind of like vacation stays. You might have a rental property that you rent for a short period of time, less than 30 days typically. That's short term. Long term would be you have a house or a place that you rent to somebody and you do an annual lease or multi-year lease for them, and they're there. There's different ways that those are treated from a tax perspective. Short-term leases are treated more like active income because you have a lot of activity there. There's lots of turnover, and you actually can have a little bit of better planning opportunity with short-term rentals because you could have that rental property offset. If it has losses, it can offset some of your other income. But in a lot of cases, short-term rentals are more lucrative, so they may not generate losses. The key thing there is short-term rentals are good, but you have to actively manage them. There's the potential to have higher profits in them. Offset that, though, you get a longer write-off period for the property. So there's this thing called depreciation. And depreciation is, when you buy a property, you get to write the cost of that property off over time. Well, if a property is deemed as a long-term rental, you get to depreciate it over 27 and a half years. If you get long-term, if it's a short-term rental, then you have to depreciate it over a longer period of time. So the cost of that deduction each year is less when it's short-term. So there's a lot of different moving parts there, but the distinction between a short-term rental and long-term rental, it's treated differently from a tax perspective, and the way that you write off and depreciate the property is treated differently. Now, from a long-term rental perspective, long-term rentals are not bad either because you have less hands-on. You get a tenant in there, they may have a 1-year lease, they may have a multiple year lease. You put them in there, you manage the property, and you probably don't have a lot of interaction versus maybe a short-term rental where you have people checking in every week or checking in, checking out. And so there's a lot of activity. So it really just depends on your appetite for how active you want to be involved in managing the property, whether or not you want to go short-term or a long-term rental.